Da, 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 da. Brother, I will be free. All right. Let's hit the road, Jack, and we'll come right back when we're out of P. Hit the road, Jack. Go meet the Pokemon professor herself. Nope, not till I have a starter. The professor can fuck right off till I get my starter, goddammit. We got priorities in this biznatch. Let's go. Let's get them. Let's find our brilliance. Run past all these ricketies. Good morning. Good morning. Well, I fucked that up. It goes, good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. You talk the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you. I had not heard the actual version of that song for way too long of my life. And always had the lyrics wrong, which is very funny to me. Because in school, a long time ago, there was like a camp you could go to. Your parents had to apply to the camp for you, and you had to get accepted because it was a camp run by the unions to raise union awareness. Which, I mean, it could not have been cheap. I mean, it helped that all of the things you did while at the camp was through unionized businesses, so I'm sure it was nowhere near as expensive as it definitely could have been. Like, we would go to a hotel that was heavily unionized and have, like, a proper nice course dinner. Or we would go to, like, you know, a unionized shop or, like, amusement park or whatever, what have you. Many of the things you did at the camp, where the students did not need to directly pay out of pocket, was all union stuff that was being donated to the camp by the union workers. And if not donated, definitely acquired at a heavily discounted price. And it was great. It was like a fucking... Jesus, was it a week-long camp? It might have been a week. It might have been like a 5-day camp where we would go and stay at the university dorms, which sucked because the beds were always shit and it was always too hot. My second year to the camp, I brought my laptop and I would just sit in my room playing like emulated Game Boy games and stuff. Or I would sit out in the shared room at the university and just chill on my computer playing games and just interact with people who decided to come up and talk to me. Which was always fun. Yeah, the camp was neat. I mean, you did 3 hours of class each day with like a 15-minute break in the middle of the 3 hours. So you would do like 90 minutes, a 15-minute break, 90 minutes. You'd have breakfast at the university cafeteria, which I think was buffet style. I could be lying. But I don't believe we had to pay for it. But I also don't think it was all you can eat, or else I would have remembered it more, you know? Then you would do the first hour and a half of class with a translator. Again, a unionized position there, because some of the speakers would speak only in French. So we would have a translator there with headsets for all of the Anglophones, or people whose French just wasn't good enough to understand the presentation being delivered solely in French. And there would be a translator who would just sit in the back of the room and would just speak into her mic very quietly um, repeating the entire speech that the person was giving for the Anglophones. And the Francophone students would have a translator who was doing the exact same thing for English, which is super cool in hindsight. Um, Honestly, I thought it was I thought it was pretty cool at the time, having never really worked with translators as a kid. Hey, Sea Dog, it's going okay. It's the day off. Just wanted to do an hour or two of trying to get our starter before the rest of my day starts. Why is my model all messed up? What's going on? Come on, I'm right here, you garbage. Yeah, my setup is still not optimal. I'm too low below my laptop's camera really for the YouTube studio, so my model might do some weird stuff. I was just rambling about an old camp I went to in school back in the days. It was a fun time. Met some nice people. Also, I mean, I'm the type of guy who doesn't mind going to like 3 hours of classes during summer vacation in the morning, and then getting to go to like a theme park in the afternoon, or a water park, or like going bowling or something. Like I'm the type of person who doesn't mind doing 3 hours of class if it means we get to go do something fun. Which I guess not every kid is as hyped up on as I am, but I was just like, oh wait, you mean if I sit through this 3 hours of class, I'll get like a really delicious free dinner and get to go to like a theme park or a water park? Yeah, all right. I'll sit in three hours of class. You want me to pay attention too? All right, sure. You're being nice. I guess I could pay attention in the class. I don't remember how much attention I paid. It wasn't 100% for sure. But I mean, you know, kids in a camp, right? Meeting other kids they're never gonna see again, right? Like, in theory, you're gonna get distracted, especially like high school age kids. That is a recipe for teenage pregnancies. Which was also how, I guess, how Bible camp was back where I used to live. Which the people who always like made a lot of fun about religion and like really mocked the idea that your parents would send you to Bible camp during the summer or winter. And then you look at them like, yeah, but I mean, it was just a week of like having pretty alright sex with people I'm never gonna see again. And they're just like, wait, what? It's like, ah, I see you've never partaken in Bible camp. I see your parents don't sign you up to go places, eh? Oh, Jesus. Fucking Bible camp, man. Honestly, just like the other summer camp I'm talking about, I didn't hate Bible camp. I never really cared all that much about the Bible. Outside of just being like a book to read that was way above my pay grade as a kid, so I found that interesting. But like, again, if you say, hey, I'm gonna send you to a camp where you're gonna do canoe riding or kayaking, you're gonna go swimming every day, you're gonna get snacks, you're gonna get to ride horses, you're gonna go out in the woods to like a paintball field, and you're going to play capture the flag on this really sick outdoor woods paintball field. You're gonna go to the beach. You're gonna get to do all this crap, and you just have to say a prayer. You know, for 1 minute before each of those things starts, and do an hour of church in the morning and an hour of church in the evening. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I can sit in a room for an hour and disassociate. Like, yeah, all right. It's not like anyone's listening to my thoughts in church. You're just sitting there thinking about whatever you want to think about, right? all right food. Like, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. Three decent meals a day. Pool table. I think they might have even had a video game system at some point. I'm trying to think of what the other events were, because there was the capture the flag in the paintball field, the kayaking, which was great. They eventually added a swimming pool and swimming each day, which is also sick. I don't believe that was there when I was there though. That came later. I got to go swimming when they would take us to like the beach. They would like rent a bus and we would all go to the beach. The horse riding was fun. I was never super into it, but like, you know, it was like, all right, we're gonna take you through a nice stretch of forest for an hour and have an older teen who volunteered to be here hold your horse for you while you walk around, and I'm just like, all right, someone I can talk the ear off for an hour. God, I tortured those poor volunteers, man. I was the worst kid because I would not shut up ever about anything. That was an hour of just me talking. that was a lot like me streaming. It was just me arbitrarily talking about whatever the fuck I wanted, regardless if the person listening had any investment in what I was talking about at all. So I guess it was practice for this, and my YouTube channel in general, and my YouTube life in general. That was back before I started my second YouTube channel, which has like 1,300 videos on it or some shit. Some obscene amount of videos for for the views that they get. Which is fair, because I don't imagine any of those videos are ever any good. I know there were other things, though. Oh, there was archery. That's the one I'm forgetting. There was also archery. I made an inappropriate joke once at the archery thing, and one of the counselors, who again was just a volunteer dude, right? Like, he was just like a kid who was slightly older than me, right? Like, he was probably like a 19-year-old volunteer or something. He didn't really know how to handle kids in hindsight, and when I made a slightly inappropriate joke, he made me like, you know, the chubby asthmatic kid, like, run laps around the track field. And I just like gave up after 2, was just crying. I'm like, I'm gonna go fucking home. I'm gonna get my mother to demand her money back for this fucking place, and this guy's gonna fucking get kicked the fuck out. I was not having fun that time. I think that was the same guy who broke my tooth. He had like an O. Henry bar, and I was like, oh, can I have a bite? And he said, yeah, sure, and it was frozen, and he fucking peeled my tooth in half. Like, it got into the frozen, but I couldn't break through it, so when I went to pull it, it like sucked and broke my tooth. I had to go to the dentist to get the rest of the tooth removed. Kid was having a hard time that year. When I went to that camp, it was not that bad. As much as I, again, don't give a shit about the Bible in any capacity. It did not stay that good, though. It definitely went downhill. The winter camp was better, also. Because in the summer, all the boys had to stay in, like, a B building, which was, like, real shitty and just riddled with bugs. Because it was, you know, I mean, it was all out in the woods, but, like, this was really out in the woods. Right? Like, it was sort of like a barn with just a bunch of bunk beds in it and shared showers. Which, like, junior high school me was not into. Adult me wouldn't give a fuck. If I'm in a place with shared showers, I'm just like, yep, alright. Junior high school me, though, was not keen on that. Neither was high school me. God, did I ever go to Bible camp when I was in high school? It might have just been a junior high school thing. No, it had to have been. It might have been like the first year of high school. Because our high school where I lived was a little weird, where it was like 4 years instead of 3. Huh. They do adult camps as well, which is weird to me. I wonder if the adult camps are as horny as the kids' camps. I wonder if as many of the adults going to fucking Bible camp are also just going up into the mountains in free time and fucking. I doubt it. Well, maybe not. I guess it depends on how the adults are. Is that a brilliant? No, I thought I saw the aura. I did not. I did not see the aura. I don't think anyone was messing around at the Union camp, though. The staff are pretty adamant about not letting people get into each other's rooms. But also, I was a bit older then, so I was like... It's a weird thing to say, but I was older then, so I was less interested in that. Which is funny in hindsight. I definitely had a crush on one of those girls once. I remember there was a francophone girl who I just found extremely attractive. I think her name was Amélie. I even tried to keep like conversation with her after we finished. Like I tried to exchange like MSN with her and whatnot. Back when MSN was a thing. See, dog, you're so young. I don't even know if you would know MSN. Oh, Jesus. I grew up in a weird time, man. Listen, the internet was changing every year. It is such a different beast now than what it used to be in terms of just what everything is on it. I kind of miss MSN though. Those were the days. There isn't really anything like MSN anymore. The closest thing would just be like the Messenger app on your phone, like for like Facebook or some shit. Because Discord doesn't quite fit the same niche. I guess it's kind of similar. Well, I mean, all online chat systems are going to be relatively similar because they're doing the same fucking thing, I guess. But, oh well. It is what it is. Back in the days of MSN Messenger, Habbo Hotel, Gaia Online, Neopets. Isn't there a Neopets board game? That might be cool. It turns out there's a My Little Pony, there is a trading card game from this year? What? A TCG? It's got a 9.2 on BGG? Alright, what the fuck? There's no way. There's no way in hell a TCG is getting 9.2 on Board Game Geek. God, it definitely has the Neopets level of just shit quality. What the fuck? Oh, maybe it is good. I'm seeing reviews like drawn in because I like Neopets, but I'm staying because the mechanics are really sick. I'm like, oh shit. maybe the Neopets TCG is gonna break it. Maybe this will be the magic killer. I'm super bummed because I'm really into the idea of the My Little Pony deck building game because I love deck building games. Like a lot. We're just gonna swap that now so I don't forget in 2 KOs. Though this one is apparently a lot more like an engine system, I guess. I don't know. But in Amazon Japan, they only have the expansions to the deck building game. They don't actually have the base set, which is fucking frustrating, man. It's like, oh, if I search the name of this game, they have like four of them here. And then it's like, no, they actually have 0 of them. Oh, okay. Fuck me, I guess. Which is, I guess, fair. I haven't had like a good deck building game to play in a while. There's one coming out that should get here in like late December. That I backed on Kickstarter that looks really good. But it's kind of like it's a co-op deck building game. Yeah, it's co-op. So why is my preview froze? Are we all right? Hold up. OBS is working, okay? Can I make you live? All right, we're good. It was just the preview froze for some reason. Must have hit pause somehow. All right. As long as it's just me messing up and not the stream messing up, we're fine. I really like the Cerberus engine, which is like the Cryptozoic Entertainment deck building game. I really love that game system, but like they're really expensive to get in Japan, and my friend back in Canada like is refusing to send me all the stuff that I left with him. Now, to be fair, he did pay for half of some of it, but I definitely paid like the majority of all of it solo out of pocket. And it's like I really want to play those games again, but I really don't want to spend like another $300 to rebuy shit I already own, right? It's just like, come on. I don't have that kind of income to be burning my money on that. And then I was like, oh, you know, I've always heard Star Realms is pretty good and Hero Realms is pretty good, and those are deck building games, and they're like definitely cheaper in the West, but I could get them here for like a reasonable price. I just miss deck building games. I've been thinking about just making my own Cerberus set and getting a printer and just making them myself. And just modeling it after like the other Cryptozoic games that I know how they play and I know what the cards do. I have a relatively good idea about the balance. And if not, I could always find the deck list and like figure out the numbers and shit to try and make the game good. But then I would need to try to like make a property that would work. Because like making an original one is fine, but it's a lot harder to get someone to buy into something that they don't already care about. Which is why I don't think Cryptozoic like even tried making a non-licensed deck building game until they had become like extremely successful. in what they were doing. Yeah, Hero Realms is like $40. Well, it's actually like 35 with free shipping. But I've never played Hero Realms, so I'm not sure if I would like it. Star Realms is like $29. I've heard great things about Marvel Legendary, but it's like $200 here, because of course it is. Like, I wouldn't mind even getting the DC, like one or two of the DC sets plus the co-op expansions, so that like I could easily play them with just two people. Because that's what me and a buddy used to do when we would hang out. We would just do the two-player co-op version, which was always fun. The Crisis expansion, I think it was, where you got co-op themed hero cards, and you were trying to defeat the Crises and the supervillains before the game beat you. But again, I already own all that shit. I just can't access any of it. And deck building games in Japan, if they are imports, are just so expensive. Like $150 to $200 on average. Yeah, the DC deck building game, if I was buying it in Japan, would be like $80. If I buy it from America, it would be like $40 American plus $15 American shipping, so like $80. So like at that point, I might as well just pay the extra $10 and get it shipped from Japan and get it immediately. I don't want to spend $90 on that game. I already own it. God damn it. Ah. I hope we get our Strtr soon, so I can distract myself from my inability to play the board games I want to play. We've only seen 2 brilliants so far in 30 minutes. It's a little rough. But it is what it is. Strtr in the next 12 and a half minutes. That would be nice. Alright, I mean, we'll see if we get it by the 40-minute mark. Or we might run out of PP by then. Or we'll be getting pretty close to it. The reprinting I'm doing that failed last night is doing much better. I don't know what happened last night, but the print I was attempting ended up like shifting layers like 4 times, which just fucked the whole thing up. I don't even know how I managed to finish with the layers being shifted so much. I think each of the shifts was not too far, but damn, did it piss me off. That was like $2 in plastic just down the fucking hole. And 6 hours of work. I think the new one is gonna take like another 2.5 hours. We double check. 3.5 hours. Might be. Really? It already looks like, no, 1 hour and 14 minutes. I was gonna say, it already looks like it's over half done. I was like, what are we talking about? I'm excited for this print to finish though and not be busted. Hopefully this one doesn't fail like the others. Oh, Get out of here, Squilvid. We are over halfway to odds. I'm pretty sure. We are like officially over like 2100-ish encounters. Hopefully we don't end up going over odds. We might have been close to going over odds in our first Violet shiny playthrough with how long it took us and how many encounters we were seeing. Because you can see a lot more Pokemon at once in that game, and it still took us like 17 hours. Like, if every 3 seconds or every 5 seconds we're seeing like 10 Pokemon or something in that game, there's a good chance we went over odds on it. I've kind of, like, this morning I've kind of had, like, a trick-taking game idea in my head. And I don't know if I want to, like, try and make it into something. For a number of reasons. One, anytime I make a game, like, my ADHD kicks in and I never finish it. Or I get to the point where I would have to playtest it, and I'm like, oh, no one but me will ever find this fun, so I will never playtest it because I don't want the negative feedback to kill my enjoyment of the thing I like. Which is, like, not how that should be going. But unfortunately, that's what my head does. I really gotta get over that. I need to just accept that I might need to completely scrap some ideas or make some big revisions. Because I had that TCG I was making too, and I was just like, yep, playtesting this is gonna always trigger my anxiety that it's just not good enough and people won't like it, so I just won't do it. I mean, to be fair though, a TCG would be much harder to, like, produce than a regular board game. Or, like, a card game, like a trick-taking game or something. Could be cool though. I would need to, like, actually sit down and, like, write out my ideas. But also, making a card game is, like, significantly easier than making, like, other things. Just in terms of, like, in my opinion, like, playtesting and whatnot is a lot easier. But I guess, I mean, making board games is also not that hard. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Brilliant Squabit. Aw. That would have been really close to the 12.5 minutes. That would have been like 8 minutes on the dot. If that was the starter. That would have been sick. I hope I have enough Pokeballs whenever we do find the shiny. Because if it is one of the Brilliants, it's going to be a higher level than the others. I mean, it's still going to be level 6. And most level 6 will still get caught with a Pokeball. But, like, I'm not... Because my Score Bunny is going to be such a high level. I can't weaken any of these Pokemon. I just can't do it. Oh, we're at a PP? God damn it. I knew that was going to happen. My ass not paying attention. Thinking about making games. Playing games. I like that song. Haven't thought about that song in a little while. Hey, brother. You still believe in one another? No. It's hey, brother. There's an endless world to rediscover? Or is it an endless road? God, it's been so long I can't remember the lyrics correctly. What's the lyric he says for Hey Sister? Yeah, the water's cold, but blood is thicker? That doesn't really make any sense. I don't remember. That's Avicii, right? The guy who died? That is how I know Avicii. He's that dude who died, right? He's that guy that died like relatively young. Happens a lot. Whenever I start thinking about Nujabe, I get real sad. Where like Nujabe died like in their like early 20s after making some banging music and an absolutely killer anime opening for Samurai Champloo, and then they just fucking died. And I'm like, well, that's sad. Oh, in one of the lessons I had the other day, I was doing calligraphy with signups, so like day guests, not schools. And we ended up talking a little bit about anime, and it's the first time I've met a Japanese person who's like really into recovery of an MMO junkie, like I am, because I love that. And like she like read the manga, and she's like, yeah, it's a shame the manga's never gonna get finished. I'm like, oh my god, there's someone who knows about this, so I can actually talk about it and talk about how sad I am with it. Holy shit, this is great. Have I watched that with my friends here? I don't think I have. Hold on, I got a slew of emails. All right, we got another 1.5 minutes to see if Sea-Dog was right on that timing. I'm working on it, man. Why did my model like freak out like that? Come on, there we go. I'm like under my camera, so it's not able to see my face. You're so wrong. No, you got like another 1 minute. You said 12 and a half. We got like another 40 seconds. I mean, this is the longest we've ever done to get a shiny starter before. Though, to be fair, the only other shiny runs we've done have been in Gen 9, which just has a much faster encounter rate. Alright, this could be it. Nah, it's not. Oh well. Good try. I appreciate the effort. Ooh. I appreciate the attempt. It could be in the next one. You could be off by 30 seconds.
God dang it.
I was hoping comedic timing would let that work. That would have been very funny. We didn't quite get there though, which is fine. Oh, you're playing some Yokai Watch? Nice. I have never interacted really with the Yokai Watch property. I'd seen a bit of the anime with my younger nephews when they were younger. No, with my friends' kids. Because I think my nephew was already sort of past that. But I've never dabbled in Yokai Watch. It's never really spoken to me as a monster collecting game that much. And I mean, I like yokai enough. Like, as a thing. As someone who like lives in Japan, yokais are pretty cool. Yokai Watch just never like spoke to me. But Monster Rancher did, which is interesting. Especially because I really do like shiny hunting. Well, I guess as a kid, I never did shiny hunting ever. All right, there are people on Amazon selling deck building lit RPG texts, and I'm like, what the fuck? Nice, congratulations. I should try reading a lit RPG novel or two, like one that sells really well, to see like how people are actually writing these. Because like as a genre, it's something that like sounds super fun to write, but like I've never interacted with it, and like I think it's very hard to write something if you've never read something before. Goblin Summoner Book 6? Fucking 4 stars? What are these fucking deck building lit RPGs? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I understand like a lit RPG, and they're also like $30. They're not even cheap books. At least on the Japanese page, they're like $30 a piece. Holy shit. Oh shit. Good job, Sea Dog. I wish we could get a new Robopon game. I liked Robopon as a kid. I mean, I like Robopon as an adult. I have them on my Steam Deck, and I have the physical cartridges, because you could just find shit like that in Japan with no problems. With all my gripes of Japan, the fact that you can just get retro video games here for, like, dollars is fantastic. Like, I bought a copy of Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Blue for the Game Boy Color, and they were, like, dirt cheap. It was, like, less than $6 for both of them. Now, to be fair, though, I have to replace the clock in, or the battery in Silver, or I can't save the game, which does suck. I was like, I could do a Gen 2 shiny only playthrough on some original hardware. And just play through at that, what, an 8,000 odds. Just as like the rest of my life journey. To get one shiny per gym. But I can't save the game. Which means I can't do the shiny hunt. For the starter. I don't even see, like, what are these books? They're freaking me out, man. I just don't understand how you make a lit RPG book about, like, a deck, like a board game. That's the thing that's killing me. Like, oh, book 7 is free with Kindle Unlimited. Do you know Robopod, C-Dog? I mean, it was definitely before your time, and it was nowhere near popular as, like, Pokemon, Digimon, or anything else. I wouldn't mind a new Digimon game, but I would want it to be like Digimon Dusk, like Digimon World Dusk or Dawn. My problem with Digimon is that I really love the monsters in Digimon, but I hate the Tamagotchi elements. Like, I don't care for Tamagotchi. I like Pokemon, which is very different than Tamagotchi, right? And it's just like, fuck. Because, like, for the video games, for Digimon video games, the Tamagotchi part is, like, crucial, like, because it's a huge part of it, is raising your Digimon. But I just don't care. I want to play Pokemon, but I want there to be Digimon to interact with, because I just like Digimon. Fucking Digimon just needs to put the card game on a digital client. Because I want to play that card game a lot. But the one digital client that exists is just, like, fan-made. And a little clunky if you're new to the game. And full of sweats. And there's no matchmaking, there's no queue. You have to be like, hey, would anyone like to play against me? I don't know anyone here, but I'd like to play a game. And I much prefer, like, a matchmaking system. No. Robopon was a Game Boy Color game. I don't know if there were more Robopons, to be fair. It was a Game Boy Color game that was like a monster taming game, like Pokemon. But all the monsters were little robots. And it was very neat. It was very cute. There was 2 different versions. They did the Pokemon thing. They did the red and blue thing. They did like a Sun and Moon version or whatever. And then there was a Robopon 2, which was like a direct sequel, where after the events of the first game, your character, who's this big hero from the first game, is going to go and visit like a different continent. Like, he gets invited to a different country for like a huge tournament, I believe it is, if my translation of the game was correct. What I was like playing through in Japanese, because the copies I have are Japanese. But like on the way there, all of your old companions get like stolen or they go missing. You crash and lose all your monsters, which is like why you don't have anything from the first game if it's a direct sequel. And you have to get all new robots in the new place. Something like that. Fuck you, Brilliant Rickety. Alright, last PP. And we're gonna get to the Poké Center. They weren't the greatest games, but I quite liked them. Game Boy games were good, man. I don't care if that Brilliant Rickety was shiny. I'm not gonna go catch it. They can fuck right off. I don't want a shiny Rickety. I have like 6 of them. I don't need another one. That Brilliant Rickety has the exact same shiny odds as every other not like normal Pokemon spawning. The only Brilliants we have with a boosted shiny chance are the ones we have the KOs on. So I'm not too concerned about it. Game Boy games were cracked, man. I loved Robopon, Dragon Warrior Monster. I never got into Dragon Quest ever, but the Dragon Quest Pokemon game, oh, fuck me up. I love that game. I have my original English copy from the mid 90s. I have the Japanese version, which came with new in box, basically for dirt cheap. And I got the Japanese sequel, which I don't even think ever got translated into English. Monster Rancher Battle Card, another great game. I do like Monster Rancher, but again, most of the video games are more like the Digimon games, where they're a lot more like Monster Razy and like Tamagotchi kind of mechanics instead of not that. To be fair, I mean, Dragon Warrior Monsters is also kind of weird. I want to get the new one, though. I want to get, like, Dragon Warrior Monsters, the Dark Prince, or whatever the fuck it's called, that came out for the Switch. If nothing else, just to show them that I want it. What shiny are we hunting? We are getting our shiny Strtr. Preferably a Squovit, Naked, or Wooloo. I will take any of them. The only one we're not actively hunting that spawns around here is Rickety at the moment. But luck has not been on our side for the first batch. We're moving though. We're moving on up. We're talking right now. We're talking about old monster catching games and shit I used to play, and I still own because that's just how I am. Plus, I live in a country where it's really easy to find all this shit. I can't believe when I bought the Monster Rancher Battle Card Game Boy game off Amazon here in Japan, that not only was it basically new in box, but it had all the promotional cards, like the actual physical cards, which I didn't know existed, because like I played that game a ton as a kid on the PlayStation 1 and Game Boy, but I didn't realize in Japan it was a real card game, which did not last long. I think it might have even been scuttled before the PlayStation game even came out, which is wild to think about. But man, when I opened that Game Boy Color case, when I opened that bitch up and like there was just a Phoenix card with a bunch of skill cards in it, I was like, what? And there's a small community on Discord working on updating the card's text to make it more legible and easier to understand. And there are people who are making their own versions of the cards and cleaning them up with like better art and whatnot. I'm like, this is super cool. I wish I could figure out like if that company like owns the right to how the game plays, because I would love to just make my own game using that card system. Monster Rancher Battle Cards? No. The Monster Rancher card game was not anything like Pokemon, really. It was I don't even know what to compare it to. I think there are other card games that it's kind of analogous to, but I'm not sure which. It might be closer to something like Hearthstone. Even that's not entirely right. Duel Masters? It might be closer to Duel Masters, but even then, not entirely. You get to make a team of 3 monsters, and there are monsters like that have different health totals and whatnot. There are also hybrid monsters, which are pretty cool. Um, and then each monster has a set of skill cards that are tied to that monster. And you basically deck build using the card pools of the 3 monsters you're running, plus neutral cards that any deck can run. And you build up resources by discarding cards from your hand at the end of your turn. And whenever you kill a monster, that monster's cards can't be used anymore. So like if you selectively, like you manage to snipe the monster your opponent was hoping to use next turn, suddenly the cards in their hands might be useless. It's a really fun game. I have played through the PlayStation game many times because I just really like how the game works. I really do, and I think there's a lot of room for some cool stuff in it. I actually spent a time using like the Magic Set Editor program to make my own custom set using the battle card rules. When I was like, oh, maybe one day I can make my own battle card video game, because it shouldn't be that hard to program. And even if it's not something I can do, like I could theoretically just hire someone to program the game and just make it so that I'm able to import card art and set up what the cards do very easily. I mean, it would probably still be quite expensive, and I'm not really sitting on like a spare $1,000 to pay someone to do that. Especially where, again, I don't know if the company behind Monster Farm or Monster Rancher, sorry, like I don't know if they like own the trademark on that. Like I don't know if that card system is like a walled garden where you're not allowed to make stuff in. I've tried looking into it, but it's kind of hard to find. Right? Like I would love to find like who designed the card mechanics, like who owns that, if anyone, or is it okay to make your own cards using that system and make your own games? Like I don't know. And I don't particularly want to spend a bunch of money doing it and then get sued into oblivion. But I love those games. I have my physical cartridge Monster Rancher battle card just across the room from me. That's a good game. Not really like a monster taming game, but it is kind of, right? Like in the game, you're trying to get all the other monsters, which gives you more deck building options. And like the whole point of the game is you have to get one of every copy of the base monsters to open a portal to the monster world and save your friend who got sucked into it at the start of the game. And after you do that, it unlocks the hybrid monsters, who like they let you include cards. Oh fuck, how do the hybrid monsters work again? I very rarely play post game because like I just like getting to the point where I've like saved my friend, because after that it just feels like there's less to do. Once I complete my mission in games like that, I tend to lose interest in the story and just want to restart the game and do the mission again. I forget how the dual monsters work. I think it lets you use the attack cards from one half of the monster and the defense cards of the other half of the monster. And it like killed competitive play, I believe, by just letting you have like, I think it was double Mochi. I like the fact that it let you have 2 of Mochi's like defense or attack cards was just broken, because Mochi's attacks were just like way better than other people's attacks, like on a per energy basis. that it just kind of broke the game. It was something like that. Again, I didn't find out about that part of it until I got into the Discord and people were like having these conversations about the meta. I was like, holy shit, people are way more into this than I thought. As always, anytime you like something and then figure like you find a group of people who are talking about it, it's like, oh, I am in fact a baby who has not even begun to step into the pool of this thing. I am merely just a casual enjoyer of a thing that is just a rarity. Speaking of games that are rarities, and not necessarily monster collecting games, but kind of, Magi Nation, which was a card game, but I used to own the actual physical cards for Magi Nation, and I still have the Game Boy game. There was also an anime. And God, the art was so bad. It was so bad. Can I find some right now? Magi Nation. Let me find some of the cards. There's the Game Boy Color case that I definitely have. Cards. Yeah, here. How do I? Hold up. Let me figure out OBS here. Hold up. I am bad at OBS. So if I just cop like this, and I go to OBS, I can like create a window capture, right? Create a new? No, that's not what I want. Browser. Sure. And I do this? Oh, wow, that's garbage. Hold up. Hold up. Oh, there we go. I mean, that's super bad quality. But look at that. Look at that garbage. Why can't I find, like, a better image? Do we not, like, have a high-res photo of any of this shit? Jesus, none of them are high-res at all. Come on. That's a little bit better. Let me see if I can do that here. No, that's our tracker. There we go. Let's look at that shit. There we go. Oh. Come on, let me grab this. Yeah, there we go. Magi Nation, man. Every so often I think about that game and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm gonna delete that. Thank you. Hydra Dog. It's just a weird game, man. It is just a weird game. But the card game was like actually fun in the video game. Again, I owned the physical cards, but no one else did. No one else had even heard of the cartoon. It was just I found out about this and then found out there was a cartoon, and I had a little binder of some of the cards because every so often we would find packs and I would just buy them. Or have my mother buy them, shit like that as a kid. I still have it though. That's what I'm pretty sure I still just have in my little baggie of Game Boy games across the room from me. I don't even know if the video game included all the cards from the actual game. See, my interest in like monster catching stuff and card games is like pretty big for both. Imagination is very much the artist had I learned how to draw anime and manga book and like somehow made a TCG out of it. Somehow made a fucking anime out of it. Which is even more impressive, if we're being honest. It was also like kind of a Magic the Gathering clone. But like, it played very different. Developer GRC. I'm not sure. I would love to find out what's it called. What's what called? The anime? Oh, we're at a PP. God damn, we ran out of that PP fast. If you're asking about the anime butter, I'm pretty sure the anime was just called Magi Nation. Like, think of the word imagination and drop the first I. Like, Magination. Yeah, that's it. It's Magination. Like Magi as in wizard, nation as in the country, but also imagination. Just drop the I. Which I believe was definitely intentional. Fuck, I hope that's intentional. I very much hope that was the goal. Yeah, I mean, you'll definitely find it. It was not so obscure that people did not know about it. I would say somewheres in Canada, back home, I would still have a huge tin full of obscure and abandoned card games. Because I used to just, again, anytime I found a neat looking card or like a starter deck, I would just pick it up if it was cheap and just be like, I wonder what this game is like. And then never get to play it because, you know, the internet wasn't as big of a thing when I was younger. And if the adults around me didn't know how to play the games, we just never learned how to play the games unless we, you know, just stuck with it. Which is kind of what happened with like Digimon and Pokemon and like Dungeons and Dragons and shit like that. I want to play the Digimon card game, man. I have several decks and just like no one to play with. I think I might be able to bully one of my coworkers into playing with me just because the cards are in Japanese, and he gets off on reading Japanese. But my problem is because I haven't played the game as much, I don't memorize what the cards do well enough, which is bad. It's not like what I can do with Magic, where I've seen all the cards so many times that I just have them memorized. Like, I can play Magic in a language that I can't read at all and usually be fine just because I know what the cards do. I can't really do that with Digimon yet because I never get to play it. I used to pick up so many shit card games that I would just find at like thrift stores or old hobby shops. I had a bunch of Legend of the Five Ring cards, which sadly that game died before I ever got to play it one time. The RPG was still going, and I own a lot of the RPG books for Legend of the Five Rings. I really like the lore of Legend of the Five Rings, to be honest. It's pretty cool. It's a shame the card game went away. Though I think they came back with like an LCG, a limited card game. When those were first sort of a craze a few years ago. A few years ago, it was like 6 or 7 years ago now. Like when the Warhammer 40k LCG came out, and people were like, "Oh, LCGs are just cool. You don't have to buy booster packs, and you can have a lot of fun with them." I guess Summoner Wars is like a LCG board game, which is pretty cool. I like Summoner Wars. My biggest problem with Summoner Wars is that the expansions are like $80 a pack in Japan, and fuck that. I want to spend $80 for like a $15 pack of cards. But Japan just is like that, which is a fucking nightmare. Versus System. I think I got to play one game of Versus System, as I am suddenly remembered that Versus System existed. I do believe I got to play one game of Versus System before the game just completely shut down and was discontinued. Which is also sad. I had so many shit cards for so many shit games that never got to exist. Galactic Empires. Never played Galactic Empires. I had so many Galactic Empire cards. The Whatnot? Yeah, that sounds about right. Some of the names in Imagination are a little weird. Galactic Empires was a huge steaming pile. Ophidian? I had like several starting decks of Ophidian. I had all the tools needed to play the game. I even had a little rule book. I could never understand how to play the game. So, and because I couldn't understand it, I couldn't teach anyone else how to play. Run what? It's pretty good. The art for Ophidian was pretty cool, though. I loved, like, the heavy metal sort of grunge aesthetic. It's pretty sick. Woot? Why are we wooting? Ah, you're reading the names. Alright, I was gonna say, what, did I just KO a shiny without noticing? Like an idiot? Guess I was thinking about old card games. There was a Harry Potter card game, too. There was a Quidditch card game, but there was also just a regular Harry Potter game. Which was like a Magic the Gathering clone kind of deal. The Pokemon TCG is fun. But again, because I never get to play it, I don't get any chance to memorize the cards. But yeah, Imagination was a whole thing. Old video games. I like voice jars in like concept, but I don't like it in practice, I think. Mario Kart on the Wii? What about it? I never really played Mario Kart. I mean, I've played it like once or twice, but like Mario Kart and Mario Party are not things I ever really interacted with growing up. I never owned a Mario Party or Mario Kart game. I mean, I had those systems, but it was just like not why I had the systems. Those always felt like party games, and I was much more invested in getting like really good single player games to like just play and explore in. Oh, we're at a PP again. Like my Wii was like, well, my Wii was mostly a GameCube, to be honest. It was mostly just to play any Wii exclusives that might come out that I wanted, but also still maintain playing all my GameCube games. Which is what it still is. Like my Wii was primarily like Fire Emblem. My Wii was Fire Emblem, Smash Brothers, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, which was good. That was a fun game. But I like that game for like the RPG elements. I could play that game solo for hours and never get bored of it as a kid. Because I wanted to like upgrade all my characters to the highest possible level they could be. So upgrade all their items and whatnot, which just took a lot of time. Even the shit characters. It was a lot of fun. Paper Mario. I think the one like really multiplayer thing on my Wii besides Smash Brothers was like 13. which was fun. I do have extremely fond memories of 13. 13 was a goddamn delight. It's a shame that it got turned into like exceptionally bad Canadian-made movies. I still remember like finding out those movies existed by just seeing them on cable one day. It was like, wait a minute, why are they spelling this 13 like they were ooh brilliant wooloo? Our first brilliant in forever. Nah, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's 13 like the video game. And then I read like the description, and it was like, oh, that's just 13 the video game. This became a movie. Clicked on it immediately in the first shot. I'm like, oh, it's Canadian. I was like, oh, this movie's gonna suck. I don't know if anyone listening knows this, but low-ish budget Canadian films have like a very, very like specific aesthetic. There's just something about the filming that happens with Canadian film companies, especially on a middling budget, that as soon as you see them, you just go, ah, it's a Canadian movie. Just like immediately. There could be no talking, there could be no music, there could be no characters on screen. And I will see it and be like, ah, yes, a Canadian film. I'm from Canada. Yeah. I do not currently live within Canada, but that is where I arrived. God, Canadian films are such garbage. Because I think the Far Cry movies were Canadian too, right? Because I really liked Far Cry 1 and 2, and then they all became shit. Which is a shame. And honestly, like, I still like the newer Far Cry games mechanically, but, like, I hate the stories. Yeah, that's my origin story. Far Cry 3's endings were pretty wild, though. The fact that there was an ending where you just got to get a woman pregnant and then she kills you in the cutscene was, like, pretty out there for the time. But, like, I think there's another ending where you, like, also have sex with that woman, but you kill her instead. But, like, the whole rest of the game was just garbage. Like, all the protagonists were awful, and I just didn't care about any of them. And that just continued in Far Cry through, like, every game. At least all the ones I played. I didn't play the ones set in, like, America. With, like, the cult down south. I never played that game. Or however the fuck the story is. Because, again, I never played it. I tried playing Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4, and I realized that the game was... The game series... The name of Far Cry was just going in a direction that I didn't give a fuck about, and I just stopped playing them. But I loved Far Cry 1 and 2 with fucking... Jesus, what was his name? Carver, right? His name was like Jack Carver or something? Like an ex-American, like, genetically altered super soldier who was just, like, running boat tours or some shit. So... I already have like 6 shiny rookies, so I don't need another one for my shiny living dex. And like, theoretically any shiny would be fine, but just to run the game, but like, there are so many shinies in this generation I don't have for the shiny living dex. I kind of want to prioritize them a little bit more. Yamper, we did not get a few Yampers, a bit. But in Route 2, like the route on the other side of this town, there were like Wooloos weren't spawning. It was all like Yampers, Nickets, and Squovits. There were no Wooloos for some reason. I don't know why Wooloos weren't there. And I would rather have a shiny Wooloo than a shiny Yamper. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna come do this little stretch. I also don't need a shiny Choodle, or Jesus, what is it called? I mean, I am doing a shiny only run. I am only going to use shiny to go through this game, but I can prioritize the shiny I get. I can do two things at once. This will still be a shiny only run, but I'm going to try and get shinies that are actually useful for me. If I'm gonna spend all this time, I might as well kill two birds with one stone. It's not like me hunting a shiny Rickety is gonna make this particularly faster. Especially where I'm already like 2,400 KOs into these ones. I just want shinies I want. I'm allowed to have standards. I'm allowed to have standards. I don't want a shiny Rickety, that's why I'm not hunting it. A shiny Yamper might be cool. We might go for that at some point. As much as I don't like Yamper, I do like Bolthound. Bolthound is pretty sick. There are a lot of Pokemon in Sword that I need shiny. So we should be able to get a shiny before each gym, and if I'm lucky, there'll be a shiny that's actually good for us. In the earlier streams, I went into a lot about like which one of these three I would like the most. I think I still want Wooloo the most, followed by Nickit and Squovit. Squovit is the one with the shiny that I like the least out of these three, for sure. I like Nickit and Wooloo shinies a lot. My biggest problem is that I really dislike Wooloo's evolved form. Whereas I like both of Nickit's evolved forms, but I like Wooloo so much more than Nickit. It's this terrible thing where, like, Double is just so fucking mid. He's just so awful. I just don't like it. Wooloo is like one of the cutest Pokemon ever fucking made, and then he becomes just like an ugly goat. It hurts. It hurts, damn it. Wooloo is so goddamn cute. They ruin it. Whereas I find Nickit is pretty cute. As both Nickit and Thievul. We should get a regional evolution for Nickit called Fix It. And it's a dark fairy type Pokemon that steals broken things from people, fixes it, and then gives it back to them. Like a borer from like the borers. Fix It Felix? That's a cat, right? Fix It Felix was after my time. Fix It Felix was not something I interacted with. I didn't interact with any of those shows. I was also too old for like Bob the Builder and shit like that. My niece and nephews weren't though. I definitely witnessed a lot of Bob the Builder through them and shit like that. And a surprising amount of like Dora the Explorer. I don't know. Kid shows just aren't always very good. I was more of a Zaboomafoo guy. Now Zaboomafoo, that slaps. I'm really glad the Crap Brothers are still like just out there making educational animal programs for kids. Though I think they do it on the internet now. They might be back on TV. They were doing animated stuff for a little while, which is weird. I don't know if they're still doing that. My Little Pony's great. Friendship is magic, at least. I never interacted with the older generations of My Little Pony, and I haven't interacted with the newer generation of My Little Pony. But Friendship is Magic was very good. I had a bunch of that card game. Again, never had anyone to play with. Ooh. I do want the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic deck building game, because that just looks cool. And it has like 3 expansions, and one of them is like a crossover with Transformers, which is sick. I'm super bummed that like all the My Little Pony Magic cards have only been like secret lairs and like special charity events. Because like we got a whole Transformers thing, and we got a Godzilla thing, and we got Assassin's Creed, and we got Fallout, and we're getting Marvel, and I'm just like, come on, do a full My Little Pony set, please. Like, University me, who was watching My Little Pony for the first time, was super into making like My Little Pony custom Magic cards. Like, if they release like a draftable box of My Little Pony Magic cards, I am going to lose a lot of money. That is something where I would buy like 3 boxes, two to just crack, or 1 to just crack and 2 to just draft. Hell, I might even buy like a collector booster box at that point, and I haven't done that since Zendikar Rising when they first like introduced them. Which I only did to get masterpieces, which weren't worth anywhere near as much as the other expeditions, because of course they weren't. I did get a foil polluted delta out of that though, which was sick. So I'm not going to complain too much about it. Yeah, I've heard the Friendship is Magic deck building game is like kind of good. It's just it's apparently like a resource management kind of game, and you like never have enough resources to do everything you want, which is fun. Because then you gotta prioritize stuff. But the biggest complaint I've heard is just that there are too many different types of resources. It's just a bit much. But like, I don't know, maybe the expansions fix that. I doubt it, but maybe. Alright, we're down to our last move again. Double kick is up. What did my phone just bang? Fucking get it out of here, Kindle. You can't even buy books on Kindle anymore. Fuck Amazon. The fact that I can't even buy books on Kindle anymore because they didn't want the Google or Apple stores taking a cut from their sales, so they just disabled selling books on the Kindle App Store. It's just so fucking funny to me, because like, I will get notifications on my phone through the Kindle app that like, hey, there's a sale on an author you like. I'm like, great, but I can't buy anything. Like, if I go to the app and I go to a book and I'm like, I want to buy this book. Where's the one-click buy button? And it's like, nope. In order to buy this, you have to log in on your computer and buy it there, so we don't get charged a fee for selling it to you through the app. And I'm like, well, you've lost 100% of all future sales with me, because I will just never buy another thing from you again. You've robbed the convenience of me impulse purchasing novels on your service. I will not buy things again here. I only buy shit on Kindle when it's like an impulse purchase, and you have taken away the ability to do impulse purchasing, so. Bye. After we run out of double kick PP, I'll update the trackers as well. I think Skrovitz might be up to 900. If not, we're gonna be getting close. Friendship is Magic was really good, man. No, no luck yet though. I wonder if there were any other card games that I remember that were like kind of neat that I never got to play, or more monster taming games. Yeah, I mean, I still like it. I admittedly haven't watched it in a long time, but I was real into it. Discord's fun. I was always more of a Fluttershy guy. I like Fluttershy. I like all the main 6 though. They're pretty good. I've always a project that I would love to do is to make a Cryptozoic deck building game, but like My Little Pony theme. I had done that before a long time ago, but it was probably quite bad. And the problem with like the Cryptozoic stuff is just that like the Cerberus engine templates on the Magic Set editor are just kind of bad. Like they just look ugly. And I'm not bothering programming new shit in to fix that. Oh, there's another brilliant Rickety. You need my fucking spawns. Get out of here, you stupid bird. Applejack is great. I mean, they're all great. They're good ponies. Well, I mean, Spike is also a good pony. Alright, let's see if we can get another. shiny. Running out of time. It's almost lunchtime. It's almost bedtime. Yeah, well, time zones. Ooh, oh. Not that I'm going to eat much lunch, but I told some of my coworkers I would do board games with them today. So. What do I do for work? I'm a teacher. I teach. I am everyone's favorite 1200-year-old lich who works as a school teacher. That is what we are. What subject? Language. We teach English to people who do not speak English as one of their native languages. I have to send a picture to my coworker who did some design work for me. Which is nice of him. I like having someone who does 3D modeling, and if I give him like a simple design, like, can you make this box? He's just like, yep. Wow, you even put in the measurements for me. This is great. I'm like, thank you. He's a good boy. He is off work today, so I believe we're going to interact and play some games. Should be nice. Playing games is good and fun. I like teaching. It's quite fun. It's also what I'm trained to do, so, you know, I'm alright at it. And typically, if you're doing something you're quite good at, you're going to enjoy it a lot more than doing something you're quite bad at, so. Est-ce que tu parles le français? Just a little. Just a little. I wasn't from a part of Canada where French was really all that important. After 9th grade, it became optional. I don't believe I ever took it as an elective. And to be fair, where I was from in Canada, you don't even begin learning French until 4th grade. And then you stop learning it in 5th grade. But then I moved to a different part of the country where they learn French from primary school all the way to high school, and then it becomes an elective. And I was super worried I would be way far behind everyone else in French, because I'd only done a year of French before we moved. And then I got into French class and realized, nope, they're all idiots. And my French level was exactly the same as people who had been taking French every year for 5 years. And I went, oh. I gravely overestimated the academic ability of Jesus. Another brilliant rookie. Get the fuck out of here. That is insanely unlucky. Like the other fucking three. Only 5? Yeah, when I moved to the other place, they would have been studying French for 5 years. Yeah. I mean, where I'm from, you only learn French during 4th and 5th grade of elementary school. And after that, it may be in high school you could take it as an elective, but in grade school you don't get it at all. I never really cared for French. It was just an easy class. Because as long as you just paid attention and, you know, did your work, you would probably do alright. I never really had any desire to spend a lot of time in the French-speaking parts of Canada. And I had no desire to go to France, so I'm like, this language doesn't really do anything for me. Now, admittedly, that's the thinking of a child, and in hindsight, being able to speak French, like, to a business level would have been extremely valuable as an adult. But, you know, c'est la vie. Alright, we gotta go get our PP back. I think that was our last one. Need a little drink, my throat's getting dry. Alright, yes, please heal up my extremely overleveled bunny. Alright, let's update our trackers. Because I haven't today, so Pokedex. Wooloo, we are up to 771. That's not that many. Naked, 634. Jesus. We're definitely going to be over 900 Squovit. Yeah, 954. I was like, we were definitely spending our PP killing Squovits that round. There we go. Fair enough. I mean, we've taken out almost 1,000 Squovit on their own. And we've taken out 1,400 Nakeds and Wooloos. So yeah, we're at 2,400 KO so far. No luck so far. Oh, I'm gonna get real shoved around on the camera here for a sec. Oh, my build plate is still too hot. I don't really think about like French. I don't really feel like I've missed out too much on it. Admittedly, it would open more doors than keep doors closed, but like with what I've done with my life, it wouldn't have mattered whether or not I could speak French. It was never a deciding factor between me getting a job or a placement or promotion or anything like that. It was never something relevant to the conversation. It's merely a hypothetical thing where if I could have spoken French, I theoretically could have applied to different things, but those weren't really things I was interested in applying to, so it didn't really bother me. I mean, it would be cool to be fluent in it, just because being fluent in more languages is neat. Ooh, Nick it. Alright, we're gonna go for about 10 more minutes. Japanese? Yeah. I mean, I live in Japan right now, so I mean, I'm with you. Japanese has its moments. I wouldn't say I'm actively learning Japanese, though. I tend to not have enough energy to study. It's been a while. Though I should pull out my textbooks and like read up on them again. I should honestly go over my hiragana textbook again just for the refresher. And then I should actually finish the katakana textbook and then get into the kanji one. But a part of me is like, I can read hiragana already. Why would I study it again? And I'm like, well, because that's just how our brain works. And it would help us anyways. My biggest problem with Japanese is, well, the three language, like the three alphabets, primarily. The sentence structure is also a little hard, like the grammar, but my biggest hang-up, one, is vocabulary. Even if I know like a few individual words that are parts of what I want to say, it's very hard to say what you want to say if you don't know how to grammatically put the sentence together, because you're just missing a few parts of the vocabulary you need. Also, hearing Japanese is very hard. Japanese people speak at a very high speed, and they will just drop syllables. Like, you can look at a word in Japanese and pronounce it the way it's written, but that's not the way anyone says it. Which is very funny, because people who are Japanophiles like to say that that's not the case, but it definitely is. Because usually people who are super into Japanese are also very anti-English. And I'm like, yeah, well, they do the same shit. Japanese people are just slightly less vocal about it. I need to get some more notebooks. I think all of mine have been mostly finished or ruined. Because, like, half of them will be Japanese practice and the other half will just be, like, random notes and shit. Or I'd use them to make, like, custom cards and whatnot and just tear them apart. I don't think I have any notebooks that still have, like, a decent number of on-marred pages. Especially if I'm going to be designing, like, or trying to design, like, a board game or card game. I find I do a lot better doing that in paper. Because I'd started trying to design, like, a miniature skirmishing game, and I was just like, eh. Typing that stuff out doesn't get me as invested as sitting down and, like, writing it out. and doing sketches on the pages and whatnot. Do you do Halloween in Japan? Do you mean like trick or treating? If so, not really. Halloween is more of an adult party in Japan than something for kids. I mean, kids might dress up, but not really. It's more of an adult thing. Um, there is a part of Tokyo that gets extremely busy at Halloween with a huge party that like fills the street of just horny drunk adults in costume. Kids don't really do trick or treating here. There are a few parts of Japan though where like foreigners will have like businesses basically that are like, hey, you get to experience the foreign culture of these holidays here. Those places might do like some sort of Halloween event. Probably not trick or treating or something kind of like trick or treating. You might get a Halloween themed event, but you won't get like trick or treating. You might get some spooky designs up. You might get some spooky merch. You might get some Halloween themed snacks. But they don't do trick or treating, to my knowledge. Which is fine. Japan celebrates a lot of holidays in very different ways than the rest of the world. I haven't really missed trick-or-treating as much, to be fair. As much as I do enjoy Halloween, I don't miss it. I do tend to miss Thanksgiving around Thanksgiving time, though. I do miss just having like a nice big feast with family and people you care about. Same with Christmas. Like, Christmas being like a dating thing is just kind of like, meh. For me, Christmas is a family thing, and it's just not that way here. I mean, there are some families who do stuff at Christmas, but typically in Japan, the families are getting together for New Year's, not Christmas. There are some New Year's traditions I quite like, though. I do like the tradition of being awake for the first dawn on January 1st. And I do like prioritizing that more than midnight on New Year's Eve. But I'm an early bird, so like me getting up before the sun and watching the sun come up is like not that unusual. it's not that unusual. The sky dead does tend to look beautiful that time though, especially if you do stay up all night. If you were staying up all night and then taking in the sun in the morning, it tends to look more beautiful than usual, but I think at that point it's just because you're tired. I did that 2 years ago. It was quite lovely. I don't remember what I did last year for New Year's. I might have done nothing. I just don't. I have no memory of it. The only reason I remember the year before was because that was when I was doing the Shiny Only Violet playthrough that we streamed. Because that's what I did with my winter break. And the first year in Japan, my New Year's was spent like abroad. I went to a whole different part of Japan and spent like 5 nights in a hotel and a relatively cheap hotel. Though all the prices for hotels in Japan have gone up crazy amounts recently, which super sucks. But I mean, all of the economy in Japan has gone to shit in the last few years. regrettably. That was a nice time, though. I mean, everything shuts down in Japan for New Year's, though, so it was like kind of a ghost town. Even though I was in a very big city, all the businesses were shut down. It was hard just finding a place to eat. I did though, and it was expensive, but very good. I spent most of my time at like an arcade that was still open, winning a bunch of anime figures from Crane Games, which was fun in and of itself. Had to have the hotel ship that stuff back to my apartment though. I couldn't carry it with me on the commute. Which is neat. I like that like hotels like do shit like that. It's pretty cool. You just go to a hotel. I'm like, hey, organize someone to come pick up this box and ship it for me, would you? And they're like, or pick up this stuff. Oh, by the way, do you have a box that can hold it all? And they'll be like, all right, let's find one. I should try that shit next time I'm moving. Next time I'm moving houses, just go to a hotel for a night. And oh, by the way, could you schedule someone to help me move? Also, do you have any boxes I could use for the moving? And then be like, yeah, of course. I'm like, sweet. Here's an entire apartment's worth of stuff. Could you pack all this up for me? That'd be very funny. I don't think that would fly. I think they'd be quite put out, or just flat out refuse. But it would be very funny. All right, we're gonna do this Nicken and Wooloo, and then we're gonna hop off because it is lunchtime. No shiny today. We'll get there. I need to record more of the shiny only Violet playthrough that we've been doing on for YouTube. It's just such a pain in the ass to record. Because I have to run my external hard drive to store the video, which is poopy. Alright, there we go. That's enough. Alright, Butter, thank you for coming by. We're at 22 hours played, no shiny yet. We'll get there one day. Have a good time, everybody. Bye.